Hi everyone, I just brought my big canner in from our outdoor canning station, and I just finished a batch out there, and I was washing it up and remembered that one of our viewers requested a little video on how to maintain our pressure canners. And so I thought that was really a good one, and I'm going to show you what I do with mine. My canner is a Presto 23 quart, and it has a really good instruction booklet that gives me step by step by step of the things that I need to do to check. Some things you don't need to check every single time, but it is good to know how your canner operates. Now, I'm going to show you on my canner. You'll need to transfer that to your canner, and I'm not talking about electric canners here at all. These are stovetop models. Some of them operate similarly enough so that the information will be fine to transfer. But your instruction booklet is your best friend. Make sure that you read that all the way through. Make sure that you know how your canner operates, and especially know what the maintenance is on your own canner. So what I do after every batch of canning is I wash this out with hot soapy water, and especially if I've siphoned any of the liquid in here and if it's greasy or anything, I make sure that all of that residue is done. Then I also check both handles to see that they are not loose, and if they are, I can reach it with a screwdriver right through this little hole right here. The other thing that I do, because we cook on an outdoor stove, our old one used to make the bottom of this one very smoky, and so it was black. And the heat transfer is impeded if this gets all crusty or black. So I take this little kitchen scrubber, it's a stainless steel scrubber, and I scrub the bottom every time to make sure it is as clean as possible. So the bottom part of the canner is pretty easy to maintain. The lid is where all of the important stuff is. This is what needs really careful attention every single time you can. First of all, I pull out the gasket, which comes out. They'll come out on every one. And then I soapy water clean the entire underside, making sure to get right down here in the grooves really, really well. And I also will wash this with hot soapy water and then rinse it well and then put it back in place. If it ever gets to the point where the gasket is beginning to crumble or crack and not hold a good seal, then it's time to replace it. Also, if it gets sticky and it's not easy to just slide on the top of the canner, I'll put a little drop of oil on the inside of the gasket as well. Now, here are a couple of other things that are really important. If you use common sense about what happens in a pressure cooker, you know steam needs to shoot out of this vent. And so we've got to always check to be sure that that is not clogged. And I just, on the inside, will hold it right up to my eye to look to make sure that I can see light through it. If I can't, I will just blow to see if I can dislodge anything, and if I can't dislodge it, if it's still blocked, I will take a thin little wire and make sure that that is clear. Then the other thing on mine has this airlock, and I need to be sure that it is screwed into the right depth so that this little piece right here unscrews. And so I want to be sure that it screws into the right depth so that it pops up, and there's not an exact depth, just so that it pops up just fine and will hold the pressure on the inside. And then I test this rubber just by feeling it, and this is the emergency blow plug. In an emergency, if the pressure gets too hot, this will blow first. And so I want to be sure that there's nothing wrong with this too, that there's no cracks or holes in it. And then, of course, since this is a pressure dial, I want to make sure that this is calibrated at least once a year so that it is accurate. And so just a quick little bit of maintenance will make sure that your canner will last a long, long time. The screw holes for these handles are on the inside underneath the gasket. And so if a handle gets loose, you just need to put a screwdriver right under here and get get it tightened up again, because you don't ever want to try picking up a lid and have the handles loose at all. So maintenance is very easy. It takes just a few minutes to do, and it is always much, much better to exercise good safety by keeping your equipment in really good order. Jim used to tease me mercilessly when we were first married because I never did look at the oil gauge on my vehicle, and sometimes it would catch up to me and I would be a little bit in trouble with not having enough oil in the crankcase. And so I learned from him early on to take much better care of my truck. And now, of course, I do. But I would never have thought to not go without taking care of my canner. And so that sort of tells you where my priorities were back in those days. So anyway, good maintenance is always 95% of having good equipment. Hope this was useful, and we'll see you next Monday with our micro moment.